playthrough first, then I'll talk about the technique. First off, this is La Candeur by Bergmüller. Bergmüller was a German composer. He spent a good part of his life in France. Now, this is part of a book of Etudes. Etudes are study pieces. So these are great for just playing for people. They sound like real pieces, but they also can help you learn some technique. This is what's so great about these. So if you really are not into playing your scales, playing arpeggios, playing simple exercises like Hanon, if you really hate doing that stuff, that's okay. You can use Etudes. Now, you might think of Etudes like Liszt Etudes and Chopin Etudes. If you've heard those, you might think, well, that's ridiculous. I can't play an Etude. There are loads more out there. This guy's Opus 100 is a great resource. I'm going to put a link to where you can get it for free in the description. So starting off, this is going to use a lot of the same techniques that you will see me teach in Hanon. It's just using it more in a real piece. So like at the beginning here, now you can't see what my arms are doing, but I'm doing what we would call wrist circles in the right hand. And I'm going to turn this off so you can kind of see what my hands are doing. But if you download the copy of the music, you can follow along with me. I'm just going to show what the right hand is doing here. The left hand does have a little bit of technique to look at, but in the first section, the A section, the left hand is just playing chords. So you're just going to play the chords and just make sure not to dig in with the chords either. You're just lightly playing the chords. The right hand, what you want to try to get away from is just fingering everything like this. See how I'm not doing anything with my arm. I am keeping my wrist fairly straight, but it's not doing anything, which is also detracting from the musicality. So we're going to do two things. We're going to dig into this first note a little bit. And what I mean by that is it's a little bit of a downward movement and out, and then roll in. This is what we would call a wrist circle. Now you notice when I do this, my elbow comes out just a little bit. Now we don't want to do anything crazy. It's not like... I know I say to over-exaggerate things, but let's not do too much. And same thing for the next section. And then same thing here. Now when we get here, notice it comes down and back around. And then the same thing here. And then we're back to the top wrist circle. So for the most part, this whole piece is all about adding wrist circles in. So what I want you to do is, if you know this piece, I want you to try it with me. I will put the music back up on the screen if you want to read it and follow along. I'm only going to play the right hand. So I'm going to go very slow. I'm going to stop there at the first line. I just wanted to give you a kind of a feel of what to do there. Now, another reason to do these wrist circles and to kind of what I said is digging into that first note is going back to regular view. This gives a little bit of an emphasis to the strong beats. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So even here, even there, I'm still just digging just a little bit more. The arm motion and wrist motion are two of the things that are going to really help with your emphasis of notes and musicality. So that you're not just playing notes like I'm playing it just kind of robotically. Hear the difference there? Just that little bit more emphasis on all of the notes. Now let's go into the second section of this. Okay, now the second part of this starts after the repeat sign. You'll notice in my playthrough, I didn't do the first repeat. That's just because it's an exact repeat. And I wanted to kind of get it over with, make this a little shorter than it needed to be. When we get to this, both hands are going to be doing their circles. You can see a little bit on the bottom, my arm's doing this. Doing that circle in. So they're kind of doing this motion. Then we get here, left hand takes over. Then it repeats itself. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to show you the side view one more time. Watch me do this. Now there is something else happening here. You notice something else a little bit different there? This is wrist rotation. There's only a little bit of that in this piece, but it is important that it's not a big wrist circle because it's only 2 notes. It's just back and forth. So we're just going to do a little bit of wrist rotation for that. So it ends up looking like this. And then the next section, you'll see that there is a held note on top. Let's take a look at that. I'm going to scroll it down just a bit so you can see the entirety of the next section. So you see here this half note on top. So what this is a type of part writing where we hold this note while you're playing the notes underneath. This is a really useful technique for a lot of pieces. And if you've been following along with my daily practice and some of my weekly uploads, I've been playing this piece. You'll notice that there's a lot of holding on. The first movement of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata also does this. So we hold this note, and then we get back to somewhat normal. Here. Now, there is going to be a little bit of going back and forth between circles and wrist rotation. So let's take a look at what happens on the next line here. It's wrist circles, wrist circle. Now here, we're going to do rotation. Now I'm going to give it an optional different fingering because it's what I do. Most of the music I've seen says to do 4, 1, 5, 4, I believe, to get to the third finger here. Instead, I do this. So I do 4, 2, 5, 4. I think this is a very good kind of way of getting into the idea that it doesn't always have to go to the thumb just because we're switching positions. So try playing along with this section here, starting at the beginning of the B section with me. I'm going to go very slow, and you can watch my technique slowly. You don't have to follow along, just watch, but follow along if you like. So one thing to do near the end of that, you'll notice the left hand plays these 2 half notes and then needs to move here. Make sure to get there early enough so that you're not rushing your hand and going like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now looking at the last section of the piece, you'll see there is a first and second ending. That means do the repeat. On the repeat, skip that first ending. Dolce e poco ritenuto means sweetly and a little slower. I mean, the whole piece is kind of dolce anyway, so I never really understand the point of dolce or espressivo in music, because I feel like we should be playing expressively anyway and listening to what we're playing. So we can slow down a little bit here as you're playing this. And then back to normal tempo. And then the second time, same thing. Then back up to normal tempo. It doesn't say to go back to normal tempo. There's an assumption here. One really important thing, rests are there for a reason. Make sure to follow them. Take the hand off the keys. This gets to my last little point for this one. Because it's an etude and we're working on the fingers and we're working on finger technique, don't use pedal. This may go against everything in you for a piece like this that's so pretty sounding. It just sounds like we're supposed to use the pedal on this one. But I suggest try to make it pretty without the pedal. Use your fingers to do all the work. Once you've learned the piece and you can play it well, if you'd like to add pedal later, definitely do that. But for now, keep your foot off the pedal. It's really great for helping you to learn the notes, learn finger patterns, and learn to have your fingers do more of the work rather than the pedal kind of cheat for you. At the very end, it says dim e poco ritenuto. So that means to go both quieter and slower when you get there. So when you get to there, you can slow down and get a little bit quieter. Make sure to follow the dynamics. Notice where the loudest part of this piece is. It is on the page over here, right near my head. You'll see the SF sforzando there. That's going to be the loudest note in the entire piece. How do I know this? Well, if we look a little bit earlier on, let's look through the whole piece. It starts piano and dolce. I thought I was right there. There's a crescendo here with a little bit of a diminuendo, back to piano. And then as I keep going, there's really nothing to indicate louder except for these crescendo marks here. And then a couple of diminuendos. And this sforzando is a kind of a forceful accent. So you want to make sure to play that a lot louder than the rest of it, but don't bang. You don't have to bang on the keys. Just make sure it's more than everything else around it. I hope this was helpful. If you liked this one, please give me a like and follow. And if you would like to see more from Opus 100 of the Bergmüller exercises, please let me know, or any other specific exercises. I'm here to help beginners to intermediate players achieve their goals and understand what to do with the music that they are playing. Thanks for watching.